Movsar Evloev beat Lerone Murphy at UFC London yesterday, and I wanted to go through it in today's video because while there was very controversial scoring, there's a bigger problem going on behind the scenes here, as we don't know if Movsar is getting that shot, and this would be straight up ridiculous if they were to do that because Jean Silva does not deserve this. But we'll get to that. We should start with this fight because I was wrong in a sense. I picked Movsar to win, and my pick was wrong, but my judging was wrong. See, I definitely thought that this fight was kind of going to be a draw, but I thought if the point deduction wasn't there, I think Movsar won rounds 3, 4, and 5, and Lerone won's round 1 and 2. If you watched my video yesterday, which if you haven't, go check that out, I talked about how in round 4, despite the point deduction it being 9-9, I thought with Movsar opening up that cut over Lerone in round 3, when they got to round 4, we put a lot more damage on it. It started bleeding a lot down the face of Lerone. I think that's when Lerone's hip got messed up, so Movsar was able to get a lot more takedowns that round, a lot of ground and pound. Lerone didn't really have much offense, more as just kind of defensively evading Movsar trying to really put it on him there. And I thought if they were going to give him a 10-8 that got him the win in that fight, it was going to be that round. I was mistaken, and I kind of have to reevaluate my take here. Sorry if you just heard that. That was a loud car on the road. They gave Movsar round 2. And I don't buy that. I think Lerone comfortably won the first 2 rounds. Most of MMA Twitter thinks that. Most of credible sources that do like winner-loser announcements that like score fights on their own thought that it was the first 2 rounds to Murphy. So that really concerns me, and I think this fight definitely should have been a draw. But I think because of the situation, and we'll get into that, and why this kind of contradicts with what I'm going to talk about later, is they were saying Jean Silva was saying that he was going to get this shot. But then, if this fight was supposed to be a draw, but this fight was supposed to be for the #1 contender, they can't have this fight be a draw. So they gave it to Movsar. I don't know. But I don't think round 2 is Movsar's, and I think if they were going to give a 10-8, which I thought they did, it should have been a round 4. But if you take away the point deduction, I think Movsar won this fight. Now, Lerone Murphy seems to think different based on this tweet. Just watch the fight back. Congrats to Evloev either way. I don't think you won, man. It was a very close, competitive fight. Very good first 2 rounds for Lerone Murphy, but round 3, round 4, and round 5, Evloev was able to pick up his striking. I think he landed his first takedown in round 3. And even though Lerone got up, I mean, that's a new look for Evloev. He was kind of losing but keeping up on the feet. But once he got that takedown, that showed that he was going to win in that department, whether it was dominantly or just in the moment. And I think he did that over the last 3 rounds to win the match, but with the point deduction, this kind of should have been a draw. But does it? In the grand scheme of things, is this probably a positive that Movsar won? I think yes, because I think Volk has a tougher matchup against Movsar than Lerone, but I think he beats Movsar handedly. However, we need to have some sort of accountability here. Movsar is undefeated, 20-0. Dude's on a 20-0 streak. Granted, they've all been close fights, but the dude has beaten some of the top of the division's best, and they're looking at giving this to Jean Silva, allegedly. So I wanted to get into that. And see, Movsar Evloev deserves this, man. He really does. I understand if you don't like his style. I don't either. The decisions are annoying. They're always close fights. Yo, can we close out? Thank you. So, last night he gets a majority decision. It was close. You could argue a draw. I think it should have been a draw, obviously. But you couldn't argue a Lerone win, in my opinion. Before that, beats Aljamain Sterling. Before that, beats Arnold Allen. Before that, beats Diego Lopez. Before that, beats Dan Ige. Like, even though there was quite a few years between this streak right here is very good. Allen, Sterling, Murphy. Decision or finish, it's still very impressive. He holds a close decision win over the guy who just went 2 with Volk. And they're looking at giving this to Jean. Jean was saying before this, like, I'm going to go and sign this contract to fight for Volk after this. It doesn't matter who wins this. He brought a contract up to Hunter Campbell. Like, this dude is an annoying little goblin. He's, like, begging for a shot. It's so corny. But here's what Dana had to say when he was asked about this at a press conference.
We'll make a deal to fight for the title. Do you care to comment on that?
Jean Silva said that he was here no matter what was going to happen in the main event today. He was signing to fight Volkanovski next for the title. Is there any truth to that?
We'll have to see. When we announce it, then you'll know it's true.
Look at that smug little face, dude. Like a kid in a candy shop, dude. Just a smug little face. And you know what? That's the face of, we're giving the shot to Jean Silva. He kissed the wall, and I bent over too. We're giving the shot to Jean Silva. No, I don't know what this favoritism is, and it's very annoying because Movsar Evloev has done enough, man. I understand they're close decisions, but a win is a win, and you have to respect the balance of MMA. You have to respect that a win streak. He honestly could have gotten the shot after Allen. He honestly could have gotten the shot after the Sterling win. It's crazy that it took him this long to get the shot. I understand we don't like his style, but in every other division, the Dagestani gets jumped up for the shot despite their boring style. It's insane. And Jean Silva's not coming off anything crazy. Jean Silva just got he's coming off a 1-fight win streak. Decision, too, by the way, if we're going to critique Evloev for it. And it was very close. I'm not going to let Unanimous get away with this just because he was aura farming and disrespecting his opponent by playing around in the fight like he always does. He's coming off of this win over a guy that Evloev beat in his, 3 fights ago. I think that's the correct order. But yeah, 3 fights ago, Evloev beat Allen. And now Jean Silva's win over Allen gets him the shot. I don't buy it, man. And he got slept out cold by Lopez, who Volk just handedly defeated. Even if you argue that Jean Silva is Volk's toughest matchup amongst those 3 guys, Lerone, Movsar, and himself, because of his unpredictability and his aggressive striking and Volk's kind of chinny in moments, the dude does not deserve a shot. He didn't have the greatest, name value to get the shot in the beginning. Even if you don't even look at the Diego Lopez loss. Bryce Mitchell, Melsik Bagdasarian, and Drew Dober. I understand Makhachev got a title shot off of, I think it was a Bobby Green win, not the Drew Dober one. I don't know, but those aren't the greatest wins. He should have beat one more guy in the top 5 before he's getting this title shot. And I think we should make a Sterling versus Silva. And if Silva wins, he gets the shot while Movsar fights Volk. But despite him having some momentum in the Lopez fight, the dude lost. It doesn't matter how you looked in the fight. An L is an L, and it wasn't just a decision L. You got slept. Your head was left looking like a freaking impulse grenade from Prime Fortnite, dude. You got slept, and then you come back and win a decision over a guy that Movsar got a decision over 3 years ago. Not 3 years ago, 3 fights ago. Sorry, 2 years ago. Clearly, Movsar's done more. He's done it. He's beat these guys earlier in their career when they were technically better. I think Arnold Allen hasn't looked great in recent outings, even though he's made it close. He's always a top contender. But Jean Silva does not deserve this, and I'm worried that the UFC is going to give it to him because of favoritism. And this would, as much as we've seen Dana White privilege, this would just be the purest form of fuck you fans. We're doing what we want. This would completely just push us over the edge as to what it means to earn a title shot. Because I'm sure if Colby Covington came out tomorrow and turned heel as a Nazi, they'd give him a title shot based off of what we're seeing here. Jean Silva is annoying in my opinion. The dude, his debut walkout took longer than the fight. That's annoying. And he barks and he runs around with a contract. You're a grown man, and he cries looking at a belt that he's never touched. It's corny, and I don't know why they're pushing him. I understand he's an exciting fighter, but the emoting is corny. We saw it with Shem Rock. If you're emoting in a fight, it's annoying. Once or twice here or there, it's cool. But Silva does this every fight, and it's just corny, dude. He was doing it to Diego Lopez, then he got slept out cold. And regardless of how you think they match up against Volk, I don't think that determines who gets a shot. And it's just such a fucking headache, bro. Being an MMA fan at times, we're at the lowest of the low, where Movsar Evloev, who has beaten Lerone Murphy, Aljamain Sterling, and Arnold Allen, and a guy that just fought Volk twice, could potentially lose the title shot to a guy that looked like this just 2 fights ago. Need I say more? Am I speaking Chinese here? Does anybody who genuinely cares about the sport of MMA? I am not a big fan of Movsar as a fighter. I want him to have finishing instinct. I'm not a huge fan of high-intensity grappling, and he kind of earned my respect last night for trying to strike with Lerone, because I think Hunter Campbell put a gun to the back of his head and said, if you shoot, you're not getting a title shot. But this would be pathetic if Movsar did all of this, and because Jean Silva barks, they're going to give him a title shot, despite beating a guy by decision that Movsar did 2 years ago. There's no consistency in the matchmaking here, and Dana's smug-ass bald head behind the helm is just going to let it happen. You see this chum little face? He's just going to let it happen, and it's such a slap in the face to us as fans, and as to what anything means in the sport anymore. By this logic, dude, if Austin Lane just said the most controversial shit, he's fighting, what's his face? The winner of Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg. That's what should happen, no? Or is there something else at play going on behind here that Jean Silva and Dana White have in common? I don't know. I'm playing a character, but pathetic, man. Absolutely pathetic. I understand you can argue that this wasn't the cleanest win. This wasn't maybe the best decision. It should have been a draw, but if they had a draw, then they would have been give one of the guys from the draw a title shot or give an undeserving guy a title shot, and they probably would have used that to taken that. But I think they would have gotten so much shit for that they had to give a winner here. Now, why did Ben Cartilage and Derek clearly score round 2 to Movsar? I don't know. They're horrible refs. We've seen this time and time and again. Clemens Warner isn't too bad, but it's an unfortunate situation, and I really hope at the end of this, Movsar just gets his shot out of the way so we don't have to be in this cantankerous situation. And Movsar loses to Volk, in my opinion. So let him get the shot, let him lose, put Silva against Sterling or Yair Rodriguez to get a free slime out, and then just give the shot to Jean. If that's how things play out, I'll go, great, give Jean Silva a title shot. He had the loss to Lopez, but Lopez clearly can't beat Volk. Let's give Jean a shot. That makes perfect sense. But right now, where Jean is at in his career and where Evloev is at in his career, Evloev deserves that shot 100 out of 10 times, dude. Like, it makes no sense if they give this to Jean, and I don't know what to think of the sport anymore if they do. There's clearly been some bad decisions in the past in terms of title shots. A lot of people are arguing Strickland shouldn't get over a Mavov, but I think he should. We can get into that into another video if y'all want. Let me know in the comments. But Evloev deserves this, man, and if you think that they should give it to Jean just because he's more entertaining, then I don't think you're right. Because last night we saw that Evloev, whether it was Hunter Campbell's intervention or out of himself wanting to prove that he deserves it, he was entertaining. The dude made his grappling entertaining. He didn't shoot till round 3, and even then, he was hurting Murphy on the feet. He cut him open, dude. Murphy looked like he was going to quit in there. Granted, he had the hip-hop injury that I'm sure limited his movement, but Movsar was entertaining in that fight, and I think it would be an entertaining fight against Volk. And if you think Jean Silva should jump that despite coming off of one win after getting slimed terribly by a guy that Volk took care of handedly, then I don't think you're a real fan of the sport. I don't promote drug use on my channel. Yeah, man. Fuck situation. The right thing needs to happen here, and they need to give Movsar the shot. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you think Movsar deserves the shot, or do you think they should just say, screw him, give him Jean Silva? And if you do, don't comment that, because I'm going to clown you. No, I'm joking. We can have a conversation about it. Like, I'm always open to this, but I don't think he deserves the shot by any means necessary. And if you do, let me know why, and let me know when your mom dropped you on the head as a baby. See you.